So, we all know Undertale has a pretty multi-layered plot, right? Well, today I decided to give the basis of that story, you know, the intro at the beginning of the game, to an AI, and allow the AI to effectively regenerate the story. I'm going to be using AI Dungeon for this, and I'm going to guide the AI to hopefully remake the Undertale story from start to finish. Yeah, I can't see this going wrong. Make sure to like and subscribe. Enjoy the video. Okay, so we're going to hit 6 for custom. You are a child who climbs a mountain and enters the underground. You meet a flower named Flowey. He tells you that you are now in a different world called Mount Blight. He tells you that you must choose which gang you want to join. There are many choices. You say that you want to join Flowey's gang. You pick the red gang. You and the others ride to the hideout. There you hide out and do not do anything for a few weeks. Where is this going? You follow Toriel to the ruins. You see the Toriel is now a skeletal death flower. Why? Why? You decide to spare Toriel. She thanks you and decides to let you in her gang. This means you will be working for the death flower. You help Toriel in hiding from the Grand Alliance. What? I'm gonna try to make it go into the normal story. After getting through Toriel, you now leave the ruins and enter Snowdin. There, you find a shopkeeper named Osis. He lets you stay in his shop. You and Toriel sleep in the storeroom. After some time, people start talking about a new threat. What's the new threat? Is it me? Am I the new threat? Sans the skeleton enters the shop and warns you to watch out for Papyrus, who is hunting for humans. You tell Toriel that you will watch out for him. After a few weeks, you manage to steal a boat. You travel up the river and you find a small village. Are we entering? Did we just skip like half the story? Are we at Temmie Village now? Hello? You are now at Temmie Village. There you meet a bunch of Tems. They have a leader named G. Is it Caster? He tells you that Toriel has been throwing her weight around and the village is not going to stand for it anymore. What does that even mean? Toriel, what are you doing? Why are you even still here? Why are you following me? Oh my god. You leave the village. Toriel's gang in Snowdin. You now live in a hole in the ground. You have to get rid of Toriel. You have to get rid of Toriel and her gang if you want to stay hidden. That what? I have to kill Toriel? You kill Toriel and her gang and decide to hide in the hole. After a while, Toriel comes to the hole and wants to talk to you. She tells you that she wants to help you. Toriel tells you she wants to help you get out of this gang life. But I killed her! Hello? Does she come back to life? What? Does Toriel just have some kind of goat magic or something? You and Toriel leave the gang and try to leave for Hotland, but is stopped by Undyne. Undyne tells you that Toriel has been nothing but trouble and that you should destroy her. Toriel tells Undyne that if that is what she wants, then that is what shall happen. What? Toriel dies! You decide that it is better to get out of a life of crime. You travel with Toriel to the ruined capital. You live in the ruins there with other refugees. Toriel has died twice at this point. And now we're at the ruined capital. Is that like new home? Are we meeting Asgore here? Did we just skip over Hotland? In the ruined capital, you meet Asgore, the king of the monsters. Toriel tells you this is your greatest battle yet, and you must do it alone. You go to the throne room and see a bunch of other refugees. Asgore tells you that your group will be staying in the palace. The palace has a dungeon, but you're not to go in there. I thought we were battling with him! You fight against Asgore to reach the surface. Once you reach the surface, you meet the refugees. They tell you that Toriel destroyed the gates and killed the king! Your group decides to leave the dungeons of the ruined capital. I think it's confused. I think it's confused. Suddenly, you are ambushed by Flowey the Flower, who has now gathered all the human souls. He hits you with his petals, and all the souls that he has gathered go back to his body to make more petals. You are now surrounded by a bunch of yellow petals. You fight against Flowey. You use your sword to cut his petals. You cut off a few petals, and they fall down to the ground. You are now given the option to fight Flowey or spare Flowey. You could fight the Flowey, but Toriel will die in the process. Didn't she already die like 5 times before? You could fight the Flowey and spare Toriel. You could try to sneak away. You go to Toriel. Was that even an option? There was 3 options there, and you picked the 4th one. What? Toriel tells you to never give up and summons all your friends, who are now ghosts. Toriel tells you to fight Flowey with your friends. You decide that Toriel is worth more than the other. You fight against her? What? You turned against Toriel so you can fight Flowey? That makes no sense! Flowey dies, and so does Toriel. You and Toriel leave the underground. You live in the ruins. After some time, a new threat appears. It is called the Lich Lord. What? We went back to the ruins, and now we're entering a new arc. Okay, well, we need to get the True Pacifist ending, okay? We can't just stop on neutral. You leave the ruins and leave Toriel behind. You enter Hotland and enter a laboratory. The Lich Lord is standing at the counter. He tells you that Toriel was a foolish girl who only wanted to be pretty like the other vampires. She's a vampire? You take an elevator down to the true laboratory. The Lich Lord is sitting down. He tells you that Toriel was a foolish girl who would have made a good subject, but he had other plans for her. I think it's screwed up, man. Let's start over. Alright, let's start over, see what we can come up with next. You are a kid climbing the mountain. You fall in the hole in the mountain and enter the underground. You meet Flowey the flower. Flowey tells you that the mountain is your punishment, and you must serve the purpose for which you were made. The purpose is to breed? No. You are a kid climbing a mountain. You fall down a hole and enter the underground. There you meet Flowey the flower. He asks for your help. You agree to help him. You have 2 choices. You can either follow him through the waterfall or through the poison bush. Apparently, we have actually fallen into waterfall instead of the ruins this time around. That's pretty cool. You are standing on the rocks leading to the waterfall. You can see a small opening to the left. It looks like a cave. You can hear the rushing waters inside. You can do it, kid. Apparently, Flowey is good and is our motivator this time around. Toriel is inside of the cave and urges you to enter the ruins. You follow Toriel through the ruins, and she teaches you about the combat system. The ruins are quite different from the underground. I thought the ruins was in the underground, but alright. There are tall buildings inside of the short tunnel-like corridors you've been walking in. The buildings themselves are made of stone and brick. They are taller and wider than before. You are forced to combat against Toriel in order to exit the ruins and enter Snowdin. She never lets you in, no matter how good you are. Come on, Toriel says. She has a sword, and she is blocking your sword attacks. She seems to be the only one protecting herself. Why does she have a sword? I kinda like this Toriel better, not gonna lie. You get past Toriel by sparing her, and enter Snowdin. Welcome to Snowdin-torium. A man stands behind a table. He says, I heard that Toriel and the boy were looking for you. I think you found me. Who the heck is the boy? Is it Sans? Is Sans the boy? Sans appears behind you and tells you that you should watch out for Papyrus. Papyrus? Who's that? He is Toriel's other half. Toriel appears. This is the new Undertale theory. Papyrus is Toriel's other half. Oh my god. Sans says Toriel looks angry, and she looks like she's going to kill you. Toriel says, I won't allow you to leave while you still have the chance to turn back. Not gonna lie, that actually sounds a lot like Toriel. It's doing somewhat of a good job. You run for your life and enter Snowdin Town. There you are confronted by Papyrus. Papyrus says, well, you've done it this time, kid. Toriel says, I think you have something that belongs to me. Toriel points to the shop. What do you want there? Do you want a cinnamon bun? Hello? You spare Papyrus and go to the shop. You are sold to a hunter named Aizawa. He takes you to the hunter's lodging house. Aizawa tells Toriel, go back to the ruins. And Toriel leaves the lodging house. Toriel appears again and says, I've been looking all over for you. Give me my other half. Papyrus says, I am going to give you my other half, and grabs Toriel and kisses her. Toriel is very happy and gives him her eternal life. Toriel now looks at you and says, I guess you don't want to be my other half. I understand. What? You are now in the waterfall cave. There is a pool of water, a small waterfall, and a stone staircase spiraling down into the cave. You're not supposed to be here, somebody says. You turn around and see Undyne, who is now attacking you. You say, Toriel said I wasn't allowed to come here. Undyne says, Toriel doesn't know that I'm here. I'm going to kill you. This is getting too realistic. Okay, we need to wrap this story up quickly, man. You run away from Undyne, and Sans teleports you to Asgore, and you duel Asgore. He easily beats you. He drags you back to Toriel, who is now attacking Undyne. I just want the story to finish, man. Toriel says, leave the underground now. You say, what about the poison? Toriel says, you can never leave the underground. Toriel asks you to leave. You run away from Toriel and go further down the cave. I think Toriel is confused. You enter the cave and then enter New Home, where you fight Omega Flowey. I believe you will win that battle too. He is defeated. When he faints, the poison begins to take effect. He will die soon. Toriel appears. Why? Toriel disappears out of nowhere. What is Toriel? Go to the surface, and Toriel takes you back to the. And Toriel takes you back to the waterfall cave. And when you go to the surface, Toriel follows you. Toriel says you can never leave the underground. You exit the underground and Toriel stops you. Toriel says, oh my god, it just doesn't end. Toriel, leave me alone. Please, just leave me alone, man. Ah!